y'all, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing my experience of buying a home. I feel like we kind of just abruptly bought a house, and you are going to hear my daughter because I am currently multitasking. So yeah, but I really wanted to record this video before I was really truly busy. Share my experience because I feel like we kind of like abruptly brought it to our channel that we bought a house. Like we just went MIA, we were having a baby. I announced that we were having a baby, then I announced that we already had the baby and now we're buying the house. So it was just very like all over the place. So I just wanted to go ahead and share my experience. If you don't already know, I am a real estate agent in the Houston, Texas area. So if you are needing services with buying, selling, or leasing, feel free to contact me. My work email is in the description box. I'm going to share my experience and then I'm going to give you some tips. And these tips come from actually purchasing a home and also being a real estate. So with my experience buying a home, okay, so we came to Texas in 2019. We already knew that if we fell in love with Texas, this was going to be the place that we wanted to buy. So we started saving up. I want to say a year before we wanted to buy a house, we started saving up, even though we were trying our best to save up, the entire time that we were in Texas. But we definitely tried saving up a year before, and we started working on our credit really hard a year in advance. Once we felt like we were in a position to apply for a loan to my current lender that I have now, and I reached out to a couple of them, but the lender that I currently have, she is the one that stuck with me, and I felt like she was providing the best service to me, and I would use her again, and I always recommend her to my clients. But yeah, so we reached out to her, we filled out the loan application, I got some different quotes with other lenders, and then I ended up going with her. All the paperwork, we filled out the applications and everything for a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. We wanted to get pre-approved quick because we wanted to move to a different city. We were sick of Austin and we wanted to relocate, so we decided why not just go ahead and move to Houston. But we just needed proof that we were going to be working and that we were going to have the funds. After we reached out to her and we filled out the application, she reached out to us and she said what she could approve us for. She showed us a diagram of what she can approve us for now and what she could approve us for if we tweaked a couple things and worked on a couple things. So we tweaked it to the point where we were going to get the best loan possible, the best rate possible, and get the amount of money that we know that we could handle. So that is what we did. We worked on our credit, we worked on our income, we made sure that we had jobs in place and money in place to buy a house and things like that. So after we tweaked those, she did the application again for us, or we did the application again. We didn't redo the application, we did a rescore, and she showed us exactly what we were going to be approved for. Once we got that pre-approval letter, that's when I had already reached out to a couple of realtors, because even though I was a real estate agent myself, I wasn't quite familiar with the Houston area yet. So I wanted somebody that was going to be able to partner up with me and help me, but don't try and think that I'm stupid, because I'm not stupid. I have reached out to one realtor. She seemed like she did really good work, and she had like a big following, and she had a lot of people that, were saying that she was a good real estate agent. But one, for the market, and two, for how fast we needed to move, she was responding way too daggone slow for me, and I wasn't feeling it. Like, I want answers when I want answers. You don't have to text me all night at like 10 p.m., 3 a.m. or anything like that, but you should be responding within, 48 hours. And she was taking like weeks to respond, and I just wasn't going for that. All right, so sorry about that. I had to switch my setup and get my child situated. I was looking for a real estate agent to help me in the Houston area because I was more familiar with the Austin area. So yeah, like I said, she was not responding. She wasn't giving me the energy that I needed to give, because I know exactly what kind of market we were dealing with. Things were going off the market like this. It was a lot of competition, and we were right in the midst of it when we were wanting to buy a house. So I needed somebody that was quicker and more relatable, and somebody that was actually going to work for us. Like, she probably was great, and she just had too many clients to really work with me, or she probably didn't feel the need to really reach out to me because she knew I was also a realtor, or maybe she just, I don't know, but she just wasn't reaching out very quickly. Like, she took like a week or two to even send me the lenders that she recommended, and I ended up just finding my own. So I just didn't end up going with her. And Then that's when I found my friend Jessica. Y'all have seen her in a vlog before. If you're new to my channel, then you haven't seen her, but if you've been watching me for a while, then you know who Jessica is. Agent, I found her. Somebody had commented on a different post and I just saw her name, so I just reached out to her like, hey, I'm a real estate agent, but I need help because I'm relocating to the area and I want somebody that knows more about it than I do, da 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 da. And she was like, yeah. So boom boom boom, we got hooked up with her and things were going good. She's a really good real estate agent. She's super quick, she's very informative, and we started looking for houses. And like I said, I was doing this long distance. I don't think I told you guys, I was doing this from Austin. I really didn't get to see any houses except for one weekend when I actually drove into town so that we could start looking at some things in person. And because I knew we were on a time crunch, like he had got a new job that he needed to start by someday in May. Sorry, I should give you guys dates so that you can understand the timeline. So we started the application process like sometime in March. We got approved in April. Then we started the looking process in April as well. Okay, so hear me out. This market is crazy. It's different than what it was. We were putting in 6 offers a day. 6. Because we were on a time crunch. I didn't have time to be emotional about it. I just had to be a real estate agent about it. I just tried to think of it as an investment, which it is. It's our first live-in investment. We're fixing it up. We're trying to add value to the house. I just actually checked. We actually just got a letter from the appraisal district and it has already went up in value. 6, 7 offers a day. I was just finding houses that were reasonable. They had good bones, that they weren't asking for like crazy things. The HOA wasn't too bad. I hopefully will never buy in an HOA again. It does help the property value, as far as like keeping the property value and keeping the neighborhood value up, but girl, they get on my nerve. They get on my nerve. They get on my nerve. I don't have like a big problem with them. It's just like when you want to do something and it's your property and you want to customize it the way that you want to customize it, you don't want somebody telling you yes or no. So that's just a reason why they just get on my nerve. But like I said, it can be a pro in the end. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the worst thing in the world. The first house that accepted my offer, which was like maybe 2 weeks into looking, I came to look at it in person before. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and get into it. I pulled up into that neighborhood, hated it, did not like it. And I was so scared to tell Jessica because I felt so bad because we had been driving around all day looking at houses. And I was like, Jessica, I was like, girl, I did not like this. I didn't even go inside to look. I just wanted the outside. It was just so nasty outside. It just didn't look good. It didn't look like it was going to be a good return on my investment. It didn't look good at all. So I was like, no, tell them I'm sorry, but never mind. I just, because the way that they faked those pictures, it was ridiculous. And I really should have just waited it and got like a virtual tour, a come to see it. And we were relocating and we were on time crunch, so it was just super hard. Yeah, so we just kept looking and we just weren't finding anything. I wasn't falling in love with anything, and I didn't want to. And I was on a time crunch. I only had the weekend to look, so I was just like, I have to renew our lease. We might have to look at other options, or we're going to just have to. Because it was taking so long, and usually a close is about 30 days. So we were like, we might just have to get an apartment, come here, and then keep looking, which I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Yeah, so I didn't fall in love with it, and then we fell in love with this house. We found a house randomly. We went over there by ourselves. Jessica was like, I just picked my kids up. I'm gonna come over there and open the door for you. We walked around that house. We fell in love. It was a townhome, and it was in a great neighborhood. It was super clean. It looked very kid friendly and everything. And we talked to her, and she kind of had some crazy things that she wanted, but I talked with Liz, who is my lender, and asked her if it was something that we could do, with our budget, with our reserves, our savings. Did she think it would be possible for us? And she said that she believes that it would be. So I went ahead and put an offer on that house. The agent, she kind of made it seem like she didn't have any other offers, and we had a good chance. We did not have a good chance because, one, I wasn't, with all the crazy things that I wasn't gonna offer way overpriced. That's another thing. I was offering over asking price, way over asking price for some houses, like 2 bedrooms, and I'm offering like 10K over asking price because that's the market. You just have to fight. And it was just, but I also knew that the houses that I was putting those offers on that were over asking price, they were going to appreciate. So eventually, if not tomorrow, I'm being dramatic, I would get my money back. So I was doing what I had to do, and we fell in love with it. We kept reaching out to her, we weren't hearing back. Then finally one day she reached out and she was like, I have 15 other offers. And we were like, okay, put that off the list, because I'm not gonna be in a battle with them and offering 50K overpriced. It's just ridiculous. I just wasn't gonna do it. That was off the table. So we went back home, we kept looking. Then we found 2 houses. One was a little bit smaller, and then we found this one. And we put in offers in them. We put in offers on this one. I went over asking price, and for the other one it wasn't giving over asking price like material, so I think I just went like a little bit over, and both of them actually ended up accepting our offer, but this one came with conditions. So the other one, it was just like they came after this one. They accepted our offer after this one. The first one that accepted our offer that we did not take, that we're not in, we wanted something smaller and we wanted something way under our budget so that we could, you know, use that money on other things, use that money on fixing it up, and just save money overall. You know, you don't want to go house poor. So I was like, okay, put in an offer on that one. Then this one came along, and we put an offer on this one as well. It was beautiful, it was gorgeous in the pictures, gorgeous, you know, to an extent. They both ended up accepting our offer on the same day. So this one, it came with conditions. They wanted a 60-day close. So instead of a 30-day close, a 60-day close. So instead of closing like the end of May, they wanted to close the end of June. We closed June 30th. And so that is what we did. They wanted a 60-day close, but they also wanted a lease back, which a lease back is basically when you lease, after you close on the property, you lease the property back to the sellers. Basically, you become their landlord. So as a buyer, you automatically become the landlord. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to make this like real simple. Okay, I was asking Kari, I was like, is this what you want to do? Like, is this something that you think we could work on? Because like I said, we were trying to find something that either had a faster close or it was just going to be like a regular 30-day close, because he had a new job to start in May. So we were talking. The other one accepted our offer. We were looking at like the pictures, and I was like, you know, we won't have to rush to get out of this house because it's more than the room that we were looking for. And I feel like God was telling me to go with this one, because I was only looking for like a 2-bedroom because it's just me, her, and Kahari. But I feel like this was presented to me because it was something that I can grow into. And if we were to have another kid, I don't want another kid, but if we were to have another kid, you know, there's plenty of space. There's plenty of space to hold our stuff. And like I said, we can grow in it. The other one was kind of like a house, but our apartment size, if that makes sense. So we were talking it over, and we finally decided that we were going to go with this house because it had more room and it actually gave us time. The only thing was, like I said, he needed to get here to start a job. So that's when we were looking for an apartment, and we did have to find an apartment because, like I said, it was a 60-day close and he had to start in May, and we didn't close on the house till June, and we weren't going to be able to move in till mid-July because we did accept the conditions that they were under. Yeah, we accepted this house, and then we found an apartment. We found like a studio apartment. We were trying to find something super cheap so that we could save up the money instead of like blowing money on like a 3-day lease. So we ended up doing, how long was our lease? Yeah, I think our lease was 3 months. It was either, I think it was May to like the end of July is how long our studio lease was. So we moved all of our stuff in there. That was the worst experience with a toddler. So if you're living in a very small space with a whole bunch of kids, God bless you, and my hat goes off to you, because I felt like I was going crazy in there. She didn't have nowhere to put her stuff. I feel like if we were in the studio and we had studio like stuff, like smaller furniture, the actual studio setup, not felt like I was living in a storage unit, because it literally felt like I was living in a storage unit, because it was just boxes and this big old couch that doesn't fit, and like our bed in the middle of it. It was just a lot. Like we had 2-3 bedroom furniture instead of a studio of furniture. If we had studio furniture, it would have been fine because she would have had the whole living room to play. She didn't. She just had this one little area that was right up next to me. So that was an experience in itself. It was worth it in the end because we were able to get a house that we fell in love with in a good area. And yeah, so over like the closing process, just to get into that, it was like, so it was long, it dragged, and there were so many times where like my heart was just going bah, 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 bah. Underwriting is crazy, underwriting is scary, and those are things that your lender will go over with you I stayed my tail out of Linden. I can only give you the gist. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was gonna lose my house. We made sure not to finance anything. I tried not to do anything. We always wrote letters if anything was gonna pop up. The underwriting process, and she was like, yeah, you're still good to close. We ended up closing on the house, and then we did the lease back. And then that's when we moved in, and that's when we started filming and things like that. So if you want to see what happened after the part that I just said, then you can go watch our last 2 videos of, it's in the DIY home renovation playlist. I'll put it in the cards above. But it's about, I was just showing like the day we closed and our final walkthrough and things like that. And I actually got to meet the seller. She was a sweetheart, and she just wanted to give the house to somebody that was young, she said, and was looking for like a place to, you know, grow into. I don't know. She was just super sweet. I just really liked her. We talked for like hours. Kahar was like, let's go. And I just kept on talking. And we just kept on talking, and she was hugging me and everything. She was the sweetest girl. She gave us a walkthrough of the neighbors, the house. She gave us tips and tricks for the house, telling us this, like, and all of that. So that's basically my experience buying a house. There are more in-depth details, but I feel like I could just give you the gist of it. And if you guys have any more like deeper questions, in-depth questions, you could just leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them. So now that I've explained somewhat of my experience buying a house, I'm gonna go ahead and get into some of the tips that I have for you guys. Yeah. Tip number 1, a reserve. You need to make sure that you're saving and you get your credit right and you put yourself in a position where you are able to buy a house. And if you're not sure if you are in a position to buy a house, reach out to a lender. They will be able to look at everything that you have going on and tell you like what you need to approve on, if there's anything that you can approve on that will give you higher chances and things like that. Or they'll let you know like, hey, I can get you approved right now. But you also want to make sure when they do get you approved that you are in a position and you feel like you can handle it. Because yeah, they try and say that buying a house is cheaper and things like that, but who has to take care of the maintenance and all the other things that pop up? You do. So you just want to make sure that you're smart about it. Tip number 2, once you feel like you're comfortable, you have your credit where you want it, you reach out to a lender. You're allowed to speak with and get as many quotes as you want within, I want to say it's a 30 to 60 day time period, without it affecting your credit. And if it does, you should be able to dispute it, because like I said, that is the rule. If you know the exact time frame, leave it in the comments below, but I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. When you look for a lender, make sure that you're finding one that wants to work with you and that wants to give you all these tips and tricks to make sure that you're getting the best loan possible. Not one that's just going to throw you out to the wolves like, yeah, I'm going to get you this loan and I'm going to get you approved, but in the end, you're going to be house of poor because they approved you for this crappy loan. You don't want that. You want somebody that's going to be open and honest with you and patient and that wants to work with you. So yeah, that's tip number 2, is find a very, very good lender. If you have that, you're going to want to find yourself a good realtor. You want somebody also that is very patient, someone that's very fast, very informative, that knows what they're doing, that's in the market. And not is just gonna like the blind leading the blind, basically. You don't want that at all. Like I said, the first realtor I reached out to, she was probably a great one, but she was just too slow for the market. Like I needed somebody fast and for my time frame. I didn't want to tell her, hey, I want to put an offer on this house, and she takes 2 weeks to put the offer in, and now the house is already under contract or pending. So yeah. I have is, if the market, when you're watching this video, if the market is still crazy as it is right now, don't get too attached, because I got way too attached to that townhouse and I was like, it's gonna be ours, and everything like that, and it ended up just not being ours. And in this market, you really just can't be too attached. Like sometimes it will work in your favor, you gotta manifest, but yeah, just don't get too attached, because like I said, there's a lot of buyers and the inventory is super low. So there's a big chance that you may have to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And then once you get too attached to a house, then you're not going to want to keep looking anymore. But if you do find yourself that you're, you know, emotionally buying, which that is normally the case for, you know, first time home buyers, like this is going to be my home, this is my dream home, things like that. If you are going to be that type of, you know, personality that does get attached, like you're going to be emotional, put yourself in a position to be emotional. And what I mean by that is to be able to offer more. Like don't fall in love with a house that's like already over your price range and you know you have no more money to give. just put yourself in a position where you will be able to offer more. Like, look under your price range. Don't look right at your price range and then have no money to be able to offer more on, if that makes sense. Like, if you're going to be that type of person, make sure that the house that you fall in love with is way under your budget. You have way more, like, you have way more room to be like, okay, I'll offer this, I can do this, I can do that. When you're going to be, you know, competing with other buyers, you just want to be in that position, and you want to be in a position like credit wise where it's going to work for you, and, you know, just make sure that you're in that position to be able to give more, like I said, if you really want it. When you do go under contract, this is tip number, I don't know, when you do go under contract, don't finance anything. Like, don't even finance anything before you go under contract. Once you get approved and you're looking for a house, don't finance anything. Don't put anything on your credit. Do not finance anything until you close on that house. And even after you close on the house, I would wait a couple weeks just to be on the safe side, so you know you're not going to lose anything. Once you put something else on your credit, the lender has to rework your stuff and re-look at your stuff to see if you're still even able to be approved. I've seen people where they finance something, like they finance furniture a week before they closed on a house, because they're like, oh my God, I'm so excited, I have a new house, I'm about to buy this furniture. And now they don't qualify anymore because they didn't drop their credit, or it raised their debt to income ratio, making them no longer eligible. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your debt to income ratio low. Hey, just don't finance anything. It's just not good in the end. Just wait until after you buy the house. Don't buy anything until after you buy the house. Keep pushing your savings account up and just working on lowering the debt to income ratio, because they're going to run your credit again the day of closing to make sure that they are still able to give you that loan. So that's my big tip. Probably should have said this first, is when you're looking for a home and you're offering things, like I said, putting yourself in a position to be able to offer more things, don't skip an inspection. Like, it's not worth it, because then you're buying blind and you have no idea what you're buying into. And on the outside, it looks beautiful, but then once you get into it, this is happening and this is happening and da-da-da is happening, da-da-da. And honestly, that just comes with the territory of buying a home. At the end of the day, things are going to pop up, which goes into one of my last tips is make sure you get a home warranty. I don't care if it's a new build. I don't care what type of house it is. Get a home warranty. Your insurance, like your mortgage insurance, home insurance, it only covers so much. You want to make sure your home insurance, it only covers so much. You want to make sure that you are getting, you know, a home warranty, and make sure that you're reading it and seeing what it covers. Like, does it cover appliances? Does it cover this? Does it cover that? Because when you get into, like, say, an older house, honestly, problems happen in newer houses too. So that's why you should always get a home warranty. It's going to cover those things. So like your refrigerator stops working, you should be able to put, if it's under your plan, like if it's actually in your plan, you should be able to put in a claim, and they either pay for the refrigerator or at least help you pay for the refrigerator. Something happens with your, you know, your AC units and, you know, lights and other appliances and like all these other things that your home insurance is not going to cover. You want to get a home warranty that's going to help you. So that way that you're not getting to a house and now you're house poor because you just had to spend $50K on a whole bunch of new appliances. You know what I mean? So that's why I say get a home warranty. It'll help you in the best. And they have ones that start at like $30-$40 a month. It's worth it. Just get a home warranty. If I can think of anything else, I will put it in the comments. And if you have any more questions for me, then make sure you leave it in the comments below. Don't forget, like I said, I am a realtor in the Houston area. So if you do need help buying, selling, or leasing, my email is in the description below. Good luck to everybody that's in the market and wants to buy a house right now. And yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.